Right, morning. So, what I thought I'd do, well, we've got a break in the weather, and it's quite sunny today. I thought I'd give you a tour of all my cars, and then I thought I'd introduce some of the bikes as well while we're here. So, why not start with the car I use the most, which is my Nissan Qashqai. So it's a 2008 1.6 petrol manual, and basically I got this car for 250 quid. It needed a clutch and a few other little bits, battery, wipers, the usual, few bulbs, whatever it is, and I had a bit of a dent in the side. So because we got it up and running nice and quick at the garage, I decided to spend a bit of money on the bodywork and tidy it up. So I got it with about 80,000 mile on. It's currently on about 91. And I use this basically as a van, almost. Anything I need to cart about in it, getting to work and back, whatever it is, this is what gets used. It's never let me down. It's been dead good, especially for 250 quid, can't moan. And it also saves me putting the miles on the Porsche. And I was basically using the Porsche as a delivery van once upon a time, which with a Savannah interior is never a good idea. The guys at Unique Porsche in West Orton used to laugh at me for carting stuff around in it. So yeah, that's why I got this car. So inside, it's a shithole as you can see, but it's nothing fancy. It has got a panoramic roof, and that's about it. The rest is bog standard. We'll show you that now. So this is it from the outside. And again, it's nothing to look at. It's a bog standard Nissan Qashqai. What's the plans with this car? Who knows? Run it into the ground, maybe sell it, especially when it only cost me 250 quid. I could potentially profit from it, or I could just run it into the ground, not really bothered. And that's that. So we'll move on to the next one. So this is the next one, Cayman. You've all seen it. And there's nothing really to tell. It needs a good clean, but it always needs a good clean. Realistically, what's the plans with this? I think I'm going to sell it. I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to sell it. So I've had this car the longest. I've had it for about, I'm not sure, maybe 7 years now. I've pretty much done everything I want to do with it. Long journeys, drive it, this, that and the other. Maybe take it to the Nürburgring before it goes, I'm not sure. It does need a couple of little bits doing really. I need a window reg on the passenger side, and it's got some leaky water pipes down at the front on the radiator, so I want to fix them. And aside from that, a good clean, a good scrubbing, and it's pretty much perfect. The only problem is every time I get in it and drive it, I fall in love with it again, and I can't bring myself to get rid. So who knows, maybe it'll stay, maybe I get a really good offer. Now the thing is I bought this for about 13 grand 7 years ago, or whenever it was, and I think it's worth somewhere in that region right now. It's probably 12 grand maybe, so I've done all right from it. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. Right then, this is the last one of cars that I actually drive and use. This is the KA. Now I say I drive and use it, not driven it for ages, not used it for ages because I crashed it. So it's pretty much just sat here till I get around to sorting it. All this is still on, all the bumpers smashed up. Oh, it still drives, there's actually nothing really wrong with it. I've just got to get around to fixing it, which again, as the weather sort of gets better, we will do. So in the meantime, in fact, I might as well show you this. We've done, as you can see there, centre exit exhaust. We've put coilovers on it, it doesn't go anywhere. Again, rocket there, it's rock hard, and it absolutely flies around corners now. It's all stripped out and everything, which you saw in the last video, which is when I spun on the track. So plans with this car, well, it's pretty much exactly that. It's to fit the bumper, get it all sorted, back up and running, maybe a few other little bits. I want to get polycarbonate windows and what have you, get the steering wheel on finally, maybe get it down the dyno again, just see how much power we've actually improved by with the cam and the exhaust and this, that and the other. And it's pretty much just finished the project really, and then get it to some bigger tracks. Obviously we battered Three Sisters over the last couple of years. I reckon I've done maybe 2,000 laps at Three Sisters, so I know it pretty well now. It's time to get on some bigger tracks, start doing Alton and what have you. And again, Nürburgring is on the cards for this car, so if you see us about, give us a beat, give us a wave, whatever. That's what this car's about, is getting to track days and making friends. And I don't know, if someone's interested and they want a passenger ride, you're obviously more than welcome to jump in. It's one of them sort of cars really for sharing and whatever. If you're scared of getting your own car on track, jump in with me, I'm not bothered. So anyway, that's that car. Again, bit of history on this if you don't know. I bought this off my neighbour for, I think it was 160 quid or something like that, because it was an MOT failure, needed a bit of welding. So we welded it up, got it back up and running, and pretty much just ruined it from there. It's only done 50,000 miles. It was in pretty good nick other than the rust, and I've just ripped everything out and obviously turned it into a track day car. So probably lost a lot of potential money. These are starting to go back up in price now, as everything is nowadays, but whatever, not really all that bothered. So yeah, that's the KA. So now I think you've seen all those cars before. I'll introduce you to some of my bikes, and I say some because I think I've got 6 or 7, and I obviously can't fit them all in my house, so they're all at different locations. One's at a garage, 2 are at Neil's house, and a couple are here at mine. So I'll wheel them out, we'll fire them up, you can get an idea of how noisy they are and that, and we'll talk about bikes, assuming people like bikes. And if you don't like bikes, tell me, I'll stop putting them on the channel. Right, so as with everything, this one's a bit of a project as well. The main issue with this is here at the back of the tank. It started leaking around here. It started leaking fuel. It's got an hole in it, so it needs welding up. So basically I've got to take the tank off, drain it and get it welded. But because of that, over winter it's dribbled out. I started peeling some of the stickers off. So basically I need to get a new sticker set, and then this one's good to go. So this is actually quite low miles and in generally quite good condition. Needs a clean obviously, but it comes with this Brembo master cylinder and clutch handle. It's got these Scorpion exhausts on it. And if you don't know what this is, I probably should have started with this. This is a Suzuki TL1000R. Can you see that? I'm not sure if the sun's in the light, in the camera. Let's try this angle. So yeah, a Suzuki TL1000R. And if you don't know about these bikes, it quite literally says on it somewhere there, look, V-twin superbike. These bikes were built to go head to head with Ducati in the World Superbikes when Carl Fogarty was reigning champion and this, that and the other, and ultimately they weren't as successful as Honda at chasing the Ducatis down. So Ducatis are generally expensive because they won everything. The Honda version, which is the VTR 1000 SP1s and SP2s, are dead expensive. They're sort of 8 to 15 grand depending on what you buy. These are nowhere near as expensive, so I got this one for 2,600, I think, 2,700 maybe. It's probably, once I've finished the tank and maybe changed all them stickers, it's probably a £4 bike now, maybe more. They're going up every day just like everything else is of this sort of stuff. But yeah, nowhere near as successful racing wise as the Hondas and the Ducatis, but it's give or take the same bike. It rides, they all ride give or take the same. There's not a lot between them, and yeah, it's just a big brutal V-twin thing. Obviously if you know about bikes, I'm teaching you to suck eggs, but if you don't know much about bikes, it's a pretty brutal 1000cc super bike. So we'll give it a fire up, because I don't know again how much you know about bikes and know what they sound like and this, that and the other. So let's fire it up, shall we? First one since putting it away for winter, so we'll see how we get on. The process is dead simple. Key on, one click. Again, some of you lot might not know what this is. This is a manual choke. So put the choke on full and starter down here. Hang on, I've got to pull the clutch in and press start. And look at that, fire straight up. You'd never know. So yeah, pretty noisy. Pretty quick. It's not as quick as modern day superbikes with 250 brake horsepower and that what they've got now, but I can't even remember what these are. 130 brake horsepower, maybe 135, something like that. It's quick enough for me. I shit my pants every time I get on it. So this is a point of contention on these. This suspension, it's a bit weird. They call it a radial suspension, and it's sort of got a coil over type looking thing there that goes to the top of the frame. It comes down here, the swing arm pivots, and then comes back to this pivot point, and who knows, all sorts of swanky technology to try and get on the head of the superbike paddock. Ultimately it wasn't all that successful, but it's still a mega bike, and I absolutely love it when I do get out on it. But at the same time, I shit my pants every single time. There's no getting away from it. So the plans with this: get that tank welded, get them new stickers on, clean it up, and ride the life out of it, basically. Next bike. Right, so this is the next one. So I've actually just tried to fire this one up because it's a project, as you can see, and I wasn't sure if it was going to fire or not. And sure as eggs are eggs, it doesn't fire. So if you don't know what these are, this is a ZX7R. I think this one's a 1998. And again, the beginning of world superbikes. These things won everything. These were the ones to have. So I bought one, and it was mint, but then started having issues. But it's a 30-odd-year-old bike, you know, it's gonna have issues. So I decided to fix it. So we've done full engine rebuild on it and everything else. Resprayed it back in the original colours, so it's green here. All the fairings are going to be green. The tail's purple to match the wheels, and yeah, it's pretty much all original. So I have a few other funky bits coming for this, with a full exhaust coming, because the manifold on this, or downpipes as bikers call them, are cracked. As much as I'd very much love to keep the original stuff, what can you do if they're knackered? And they're dead hard to find original ones in good condition, so I'll be upgrading them. Another thing I'm going to do is all this bracketry here and this here is all steel. You can actually get new aluminium stuff for this, maybe even the top yoke or triple tree, depending on where you're watching in the world. As you can see, it's only done 28,000, well, nearly 29,000 miles anyway. So again, it's relatively low miles. It was in pretty good condition. It just needed a bit of fettling, a bit of love, and that's what we're going to give it. So again, if you don't know much about these, this is a 750cc bike. Again, very much a sports bike. It's pretty quick. What are these, 120 brake horsepower, maybe something like that? So it's not lightning, but they'll hold their own on track days and things like that. And that's pretty much that. Just wheeling it out then, it was actually a bit stiff, so I don't know if the brakes are seized on a little bit, or if it's the bearings need looking at or whatever. But again, part and parcel of dealing with a bike like this. So again, plans with this, basically rebuild it, ride it. It's not much more to tell. Let's have a quick look at them forks. Feel a bit oily, so maybe now I need fork seals. Brilliant, another build to add to the list. But again, this is why you buy old project bikes, isn't it? It's to do all this sort of stuff. So again, we want this out by the summer, and my mate Neil's just bought one exactly the same, so we want to get out on them and start terrorising the Lake District and what have you with with the 7Rs. So yeah, that's that one. And this is the last one of the bikes that we've got here today. So if that's my Porsche, the fast, nice, expensive, or more expensive one, and this is the KA, the Project, that's semi-quick and modifying and stuff, then this is the Qashqai. So this is a 2004 Suzuki Bandit 600. This was my first bike, or my first big bike anyway, and yeah, it's really easy to ride. It's a 600cc. It's not particularly fast, but we've got these rental bars on it, which makes it dead comfortable to ride. It's, yeah, no power. It's just good for cruising about on. A day when you don't want to have to think too hard or take it too seriously. You're not setting lap times anyway. You're not doing anything particularly interesting. Then this is a belting bike. It gets me about. It's dead reliable. It doesn't set the world on fire, and it's not meant to, but I love it. Also, I got this dirt cheap. I technically got this for the equivalent of 220 quid. So they'll say the equivalent because basically what happened is I rescued a car from the scrappers, which was a Toyota Corolla, which only had 30,000 miles on it, and I had a mate who had obtained this as part of a deal, part X'd it against the car or whatever it was. So I swapped him the Toyota Corolla for this. So the Corolla, again, it had no clutch, it needed a few bits, battery, etc. So all in, bought, fixed, whatever, set me back 220 quid, and then I straight swapped it for this. So this has only done 14,000 miles, I think, in total in its life. So it was a no-brainer. That person was Lee, who you've seen with the Capri and things like that, and Lee can't ride a bike, so he had no use for it, so why not? Thought I'd have it. So that's that bike. The plans for this is either just ride the life out of it, or maybe sell it and buy a slightly different bike, maybe something a bit more adventure bike, whatever, possibly, I'm not sure. As you can see, all the bikes are, well, with the exception of this, they're all sort of sports bikes, and I'm thinking of diversifying the sort of the collection a bit, let's say. So maybe swap this for an adventure bike, give me a completely different ride. I might sell one of these too come the end of the year, I'm not sure. Buy something else, maybe Ducati, maybe even a Harley, to be honest. I quite like the idea of a Harley, so that's that. So there's a few bikes missing, and the only reason they're missing is because I don't have space for them. So me and Neil share S-Rad GSXR 600, and that's a track bike that we've actually never used on track yet, but again, come this summer, the idea is to get that out on track and use that a bit more. I have a ZZR 250, which again is a bit of a restoration project. That's currently at D&K, which is the local motorbike garage in Leigh. I can't for the life of me get it to run. The carbs are all plumbed in wrong, and it's just beyond my remit really to get that up and running. So they've got that. In fairness, they've had it for ages, and I've told them I'm not in a rush to get it back, just squeeze it in when they can. So who knows when you'll see that bike. It might be next week, it might be next month, it might be next year, you just never know. And that's because both us and D&K are the most laid back people in the world, so we're in no rush to get that sorted. And then what else have I got? Oh, my CBR 400, which is at Neil's house, and we think that needs a rec, and again, that's been off the road about 6 months. Just finding parts for some of these bikes is hard, and then getting around to it, especially when it's freezing cold, is equally as hard, because you've no drive, have you, to start messing with motorbikes in the freezing cold. And I think that's it. I think that's a collection of everything, or at least anything you're ever going to see me on. So with KAs, with bikes, Qashqais, Porsche, I think that's it. So yeah, tell me which is your favourite, or what else you might like to see on the channel, or what you think I should sell and buy, and this, that and the other. I have a million ideas. I want something more Grand Touring. I want, as in car wise, I want a pickup truck. Bike wise, I want an adventure bike, I want a Harley, I want everything. But the truth is I'm not exactly minted, and I can't afford everything, so some things will have to go, some things can stay, and we'll just see what happens really. And I think that's about it. So yeah, I will see you in the next video, which is probably going to be tomorrow, fitting all that stuff on Bentley Civic. So yeah, we'll see you maybe tomorrow. It's alright.